Hello again, welcome back to Rapture. I'm Clockwork, and in today's video I will be finally unveiling Hephaestus. Now, just a quick heads up folks before I properly give this tour head going. Three small things. My apologies for the lack of video. This area took a lot longer than anticipated because these areas are quite large. The next location is pretty massive as well. So there is going to be a bit of delay between this video and the next one, as like I said, this was quite large. Apollo Square is massive, especially with Olympus Heights built into it. Secondly is, my apologies if this audio is a little off. For some reason my main thing isn't working, it's just not responding. And thirdly, if you hear any funny noises, it's either the weather or the cat. I'm not sure which one, I am just going to blame the cat on everything. And without further ado, let's go on to do it. Now, I'm going to start off obviously with the Bathysphere Center. Like all previous locations beforehand, this area has been restored completely to what it was before the Civil War took hold. So, no leaks, no damage, nothing, no dead bodies or anything like that. Now, before we go that way, to the main areas, we're going to check out this area here. This is just a small administrative center, just a couple offices, as well as a small storage area in the basement. Nothing too massive, just a simple add-on feature that we thought that the Bathysphere company might be using to regulate things. Also, some small areas like this, they're not quite finished yet. They're lit up, they're decorated, but other than that, they are pretty much just unfinished just yet. Now, making our way up to the other area, we can check out this one. Now, this area is just a pumping room, as given that the Bathysphere stations are one of the primary locations of hub transportation, it's often prioritized in terms of its capacity to keep the area dry and safe for passengers. Now, those are the two main locations for this area. Let's move forward to the tunnels. Now, I'd like to thank Will for helping us with the main area of this spot. As you can see, it's all pretty much accurate to the location. Now, this tunnel goes completely around, like it does in the game. As you can see, we've decided to not put the ocean in here. This is just so we can iron out some more minor environmental details, because given the fact that it's near a volcanic vent, and not a lot of vegetation would grow per se. So we're just waiting until we can figure out the proper location for it before we start adding anything massive like the ocean. As you can see, those lava tubes you see in the opening section are still here, and they've been carefully augmented into the map right next to the tunnels if you look carefully, which we'll show you in a second. Now, this area has been restored near perfect accuracy to the game, as well as some other little in-game locations. Like this area would not be particularly visible, but in the game it does line up in locations to other areas. Here we have one of the main opening areas of this section. As you can see, it's all been perfectly restored. No collapsed tunnels, no areas of damage. All perfectly done before Ryan and Fontaine had their little brawl. Now, here's one of the workshop locations. If you're wondering why those pillars are green, we've got to wax them, so my apologies folks. I will admit, one of the more trickier things to do was incorporating some of the other areas in this game, because this area was built by William, and then the mapping location was put on, overlapping it, so trying to merge those two, say, perfectly was quite a challenge, but it was well worth it. Welcome to what in the game is called Ryan's trophy room, but it's been repurposed to be the original main lobby area before you head on to Ryan's office. I will admit the statue took a bit of time, and I like to thank the builder who made it. Over here, we have a small bug. My apologies, folks. There's weird quirk on the server, sometimes this happens. Now, in the game, this was a bunkhouse / prison. Now, it has been repurposed mostly as a work document storage area, where technical documents can be kept placed and people could research and check on information on a part they are specifically tasked with repairing or building. There is also a small prison or billet designed to keep anyone who causes issues to the facility safe, away from the danger, from causing danger to the place, because if this facility in Rapture was compromised or harmed, it could cause mass damage to the city. Now, we will check out Ryan's office in a moment, but for the time being, I want to stick to this area here, Hephaestus. Now, I will be focusing on the in-game locations before I start exploring other locations. So, if you see a door that's not been explored yet, don't worry, we will check it out later. Now, moving through here, we can check out this tunnel. This one folds around some of the landscape to perfectly replicate the location in the game. At last, welcome to the core. This location takes up 3 stories worth of space, and we've had to make some slight modifications here and there, but other than that, it is a near perfectly replica of the location, barring some environmental touches that we had to make the area work with the location. Now, here is where a rejuvenation station would be. We haven't put it in yet due to issues. Heading down here, we follow this copper staircase down here. We can follow it all the way to one of the first in-game locations we can explore that's not connected. These workshops. Now, we are still, as I said before, we are working on the ocean environment here and there, but we are mostly focusing on the buildings before we dump the ocean on. Outside, you can see 2 main water cooling systems, as well as the cooling towers that supply fresh water to the facility. After all, bringing in seawater into machinery can cause corrosion over time. Here we are, the workshops. As you can see, it's all been restored, all beautifully done. I will admit, the gear components were tricky, but I like to think we got a rough accuracy on them. Following all 3, we can all... Following this way through, we can actually see that all the other locations have been tidied up. All plumbing and pipes have been put in. Now, here's an out-of-game location we will get back to exploring in a moment. But if we head down here, down the staircases, we can find the other locations we get to explore in the game. Here you'll find Kerbal's office, I believe it is. I've forgotten his name. It's all been more or less restored. Although, I will admit, it is quite Spartan. But given Ryan's utilitarian approach to this facility, it doesn't surprise me. Now, normally there'd be an ocean view, but if you're wondering what the bedrock's for, folks, it's to keep the ocean in the location. as flowing water can cause a lot of lag in the game, especially large amounts. Now, in the game, you use a hidden button under here to acquire the part of an EMP device. Obviously, no EMPs exist in Minecraft, so we'll just have chests here in the long term. I will admit I'm quite proud of this little design. Now, moving up here, moving this way, we can find the hidden location, as well as an unfinished area, which I do apologize for, folks. Heading up here, we can squeeze into this little location, which is a little bit bigger in here than in the game, but it's been more or less restored, minus the damage and dents. We will try and cover that up more accurately in the future though, so don't worry folks. Heading this way, we find a simple, small office area that we haven't quite finished yet, as well as an elevator, which is not in-game, which allows us to travel up to the second story. After all, it makes no sense that only one staircase would be here. Now this facility here is manufacturing and construction. This place helps make some of the parts and components for, well, for Hephaestus really. All the location needs supplies and materials. And I imagine more or less, more high detailed components will be made here. Here is material storage, iron, copper, steel, anything that's of value and need to be forged into the equipment are done here. Sorry folks. Also several workstations to help in construction, as well as lockers for storage, workstations, iron ore, smelters. All in all, mostly just stuff needed to help keep this place running. Now, this area is out of game, so we had to use a bit of our imagination, while also keeping to the Spartan look. Down here, we also have more control stations, more workshop locations, and massive cooling and lava tubes to help keep the place running and supply power to the actual plant. Heading this way, downstairs, we have an airlock we have yet to build, but it will be built here. Now this location should fold up underneath here and reconnect to the main location, as it made no sense to have just a little nook to store furniture and stuff and crates underneath the stairs, when it would make more sense to actually have a doorway. I get it, in-game mechanics, you have to explore every nook and cranny, but that's by and large the entire workshop location. Heading back here, we can travel back here, back to the main power core. Now we take this staircase down here. We can travel. Oh, bug. We can explore geothermal control, power core number 3, which is a DLC location from the multiplayer, and what's the other one? And the other one is geothermal control. We'll do it in order. So down here, we travel this tunnel down here, which connects to the main place. Here you'll find mainly gear systems to help regulate the pumps and the equipment. Yes, we've also added some minecarts that just rumble around here and there just for some ambient noise. Here we have a water pumping station. Down here we find several machines running. as well as several other location areas. Alright. Following these stairs, okay, we find more gear systems and pumps, as well as other control stations, as well as additional lava tubes, as well as several small ventilation systems. Now, we take this area down here. Now, in the game, you have to travel that pipe to get up here. Now, because this area would not contain chests or anything like that, we've decided to keep it clear. However, you can still do it in this location. Now, traveling down here, I will admit, this area took was quite a challenge to get done, due to how confined it was. Now, tricky because we had to balance one location as the center, and adjust the elevation from there on out. We chose the power core as it is the main location. So, one staircase was lowest by 3 blocks. We had to lower the entire floor plan of that location just to make it more accurate. Hence why it's all up and down all over the place, as this area was probably built that way. But like I said, as previously stated, all the locations got some power cores. In game, this area was flooded and electrified by that panel over there. Thankfully, it's all been fixed up, no leaks, no electrocutions. After all, Ryan Industries prioritizes safety most of the time. But this area has been more or less restored. We've added a couple extra desks and some structural supports. I will admit though, the fans were tricky, given everything that was happening. On this side, pretty much the same. You do get a better view of the world outside. Now, this area is still under construction, so there's not much done, but following this route, there's not much here as well. But that's pretty much geothermal. It's not a massive location, but it is somewhat necessity given the location of this place. Now, this area is out of the game. These are the geothermal power plants that harness the power of the main core and power the whole location, as well as the rest of Rapture. Following up here, we have some additional locations and power supplies. It's mostly just control centers and pipes, as well as some unfinished nooks and crannies. I do apologize. Now we can take this elevator in a moment. But here is the water treatment facility. This transforms seawater into fresh drinking water, as well as steam and machinery as water for the pumps. It's all stored in here, and before it's pumped out into the generators or the power plants or anything else that needs clean water. Now, taking this elevator, we'll head down for a brief period. Now, this area is the main power pumps of the place. Additional pipes, plumbing, control systems, all designed to keep Rapture flowing and clear from any issues. Now, think of those ones you saw up there, those power supplies, as the secondary. These ones are the primaries. These keep everything running. These massive pipes are pumping all the magma, all the lava, anything that we need into the geothermal systems, keeping everything running, keeping the beating heart of Rapture going. Now it's mostly just space for these machines, as you can see. So we'll move on from there on. Now, taking this route here, we can get out through here. And of course, there are bathrooms, but no real need to show off those ones. Taking the staircase up, we can head this way, as you can see, and follow our way out here. through the tunnel again. We can travel up here, and we're taking this tunnel here. This is an out of game location technically. It's from the multiplayer location that connects up to Hephaestus. It was a bit tricky incorporating this location, but I think we did pretty well incorporating it. Following this way here, we have the secondary power core. This is number 3. Now there will be 2 others scattered around with the primary in the center, but this will serve as a good design to work forward with. Now, there's no way to go down here through this balcony, so we'll be taking this route. We're taking a left route here, past some lockers, past down here. We'll have an administration office, small break room for workers to bring their food after some lunch. Have a break room at all. Through here we have an additional pumping station. Nothing too fancy, just some simple stuff. Now this way, we'll walk down here to the back of the power core. Walking down here, we can actually have a good look at it. It's basically a scaled down design of the big one we saw in the main room. I think we did pretty good replicating it on such a small scale. Around here, around the cavern, we have a reinforced concrete ceiling, as well as the environmental location containing all the cave in areas, because it basically is a cave built into it. Because when Hephaestus was built, it was built inside the cave mountain, as Ryan would need the space and would need this area built up quickly and properly. Now, this is just a slight deviation. Down there is the pumping stations and mass pipe networks that you see outside, all running into the building. Over here, we have what is essentially a bathysphere station / escape pod. Should any mass flooding occur in this area, we can evacuate here and basically eject from there. Also, there's one there as well. Now, walking up here, we have the other side of the office sector. Now, walking over here, we can find more desks, more chairs, more pipes. Bit of view in the ocean. We plan to build a building there. Nothing major, just a small little hotel or something, or a casino. Or maybe, in all likelihood, another manufacturing center, given its location. Over here, moving forward, we have massive heating towers designed to transport mass lava or magma into the area to heat up the turbines, power the systems, all that. I will admit, folks, geothermal dynamics is not my area of expertise. Now, with that out of the way, we will travel back to... Actually, we'll travel up here, so I can show the rest of this place. Now, this area is pretty spartan, it's still being built. Scratch that, folks, it's pretty much all built, just needs furniture. Traveling down here, we have the pumping networks that you can see clear as day, as well as the bus station control center, which I will show you in a minute once we get up there again. As you can see, some machineries are running in this area. But as you can see, this area is nothing real major. It's mostly just piping that connects the other buildings with the heat and the power. As you can see, taking this elevator up, we can connect to the area we saw earlier. But going further, we find more office space and storage centers, as well as bathrooms, obviously. offices with some lovely views. Over there you'll see the main power core. And yes folks, there is a train station nearby. We're still working on it. We've more or less got it done, just some minor details. Heading this way, we have a small office area. This area also serves as the reception area for this floor, and we can get to it by traveling down these stairs to the main office, which is connected this way. Now, going this way, heading up, we can bypass the lockers and head up this way, passing the bathysphere station. As you can see, it's more or less the same as the one you see in the multiplayer game. We have made some slight adjustments, obviously. And if you hop in and travel down, passing the machine, taking a little swim, you can actually see the control panel we just entered a little while ago. Now this area connects to the main bathysphere areas via a tunnel. It's sealed off just in case of emergencies, so for the time being it is closed. Heading this way, we can travel all the way back here, taking a little run all the way back here, and we are now in geothermal control. Now in the game you use the magma to unfreeze a massive ice form up that occurred due to the ocean water being below zero. In here there's no water unless we need it in there. Now this area has been more or less restored to how it was before the Civil War took hold. It's all been beautifully done, rebuilt. We even managed to incorporate the mechanics, the piping into the game. Although realistically that magma would have caused a massive metal damage due to the sudden temperature difference. But an underwater city following the rules of building would be a bit weird, would it? Taking this elevator down, we can see the power cores, power coolants, whatever those ball spike things were in the game. Now, if you're wondering why this campfire is underneath the wall, it's to give off the smoke effects, as these machines would be running melting water, producing steam and gases, as you can see. Oh, and if you're wondering what that beam of light is, I've got a mod that maps out the area. This is basically the beacon for the power plant location. It's just a mod called Journey Map. I do recommend it when it works. Now, taking this tunnel out here, we can head to this little elevator. Now, in game, it would have been used to transport materials from there to there, or from the workshop to here, and down to there. But we can also use it to blow up this main plant here, for whatever reason. Now, a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump up here. We can travel around, finishing the loop past here. Now, I will admit this area was a nightmare to light up. You're not seeing it because I've got the night vision effect on permanently, because it is easier to work with. But we had to heavily rely on light blocks to get this area illuminated, as you can see. Now, up we go, up here. Back to where we started. We can now jump over here and head back to the main sector. Just flying through the tunnels. We can now start exploring the more out-of-game locations, and we'll start by taking a left here. Now, this area was designed by a bloke named Will. He's a fantastic builder. You'll find that the front entrance you saw earlier, the Hephaestus front location, that was done by him. He's a brilliant builder. As you see. Now, what you see here, folks, is a secondary holding location. Mostly to keep the people who do stupid things near the facility away from them. Little reception area. I think it was a drunk tank, really. Heading down here. We can jump down those stairs. We can also find a workshop and relaxation center, just to kind of like a break room, folks. As well as another blueprint index center, in case people need directions on how to maintain and build equipment. As well as a blueprint storage area that you can see here. Following the stairs upwards, we can head back this way. Another small office over there. We can travel through this tunnel, as you can see. We are now in the Atlantic Express area. Now, in-game this area doesn't exist, but it makes sense that every major location has a train station, especially Hephaestus, given its necessity. We've got a newsstand over there, a little waiting area. And traveling down the stairs, we have the main area as well, secondary area, sorry. Some bathrooms, tickets, a little cafe over there, and the train station. Now, this area is one of the few dual locations. There are 2 train lines heading out of Rapture, as this is more of the end of the line stop. As you can see, you might notice this bridge line that runs along. Now this area is retractable and it goes into the wall, in-game at least, law-wise at least, I mean. And it's controlled by that station over there. We'll just climb down here. Traveling up these stairs. Across this little walkway. Where we can operate the crane, the bridge walkway. As it's mainly there for people to access the other side. But it's not in use when these trains are moving. They're retracted into the wall and they slide into it, law-wise. Yeah. This area that controls that, as well as opening and closing the bulkhead doors, allowing for the trains to leave safely and securely. Now, jumping down here, we can travel along here. Now this is where most of the cargo for the trains are stored if they were to transport heavy materials to other locations. And they are stored over here. Moving into herewoods. This is also another little work area site. Traveling down here, we can travel down these stairs. Now, this facility contains a lot of construction sites. This is one of the main ones, as Hephaestus would be required to keep a lot of materials and industries running. Here is a mass crane storage area, where materials are brought in from the other area of Hephaestus through a pipeline, and stored here before being transported to other locations. That area is still being built, and I'll show you what it is in a moment. But up along here, we have 2 submarine bays. These are ones for ambulances. Should a massive injury occur, they can be whisked away to medical, where they'll dock in their respective locations. As you can see, massive bulkhead doors will slam down, fill the area, and allow the U-boat to pass out. Over here we have more material storage. This is more raw materials. Iron, copper, steel, all that stuff. Now you can either take the stairs that way or you can take the elevator. It's up here. And it's all just crates, material storage centers. Nothing too complicated. Heading over here, we can travel up here. Now, this is just a water. This is area is a walkway to monitor the water that flows through here to keep the pumps and the turbines running, as well as some other unfinished locations, as you can see. Now, jumping down here, we can actually see all the water filled up, monitor the pumps and turbines. Now, if this area looks familiar, let me just break this. We can travel up here, and we're right back at where the game location starts. That is how complicated these plans can be sometimes. Overlapping locations. Heading this way, we can take this little walkway back out here, and right back into the main area. My apologies folks if you can hear that, we have a bit of a storm up in Australia at the moment. Now this location, these tunnels up here, these connect to the Rapture Central Control location, which I will show you in a moment. But heading this way, we find some bathrooms. Traveling this way, we find more workshops, machinery such as drill presses. Now this is a water pressure test center. It helps to manufacture and test other equipment that we need to keep, that would be more or less needed to be watertight as possible in Rapture, which is accessible via that watertight door there and uses those pipes to fill up. Over here we have some rather basic drainage areas. Think of these areas as the sewer lines. They collect water that seeps into the water, it's pumped through the building and just pumps it straight out into Rapture. Out of Rapture and it's back into the ocean. You'll find locations like this in every major center, as keeping the water out of Rapture is one of the main priorities as administrators of the city. Now, traveling this way, we have an airlock. We do intend to have these actually functional one day, but for the time being it's just all spectacle. Traveling this way, we have a stone cave that travels out. That allows us to connect to the rest allows us to go outside of the city, should any exterior maintenance need to be performed. And as you can see folks, some areas are still being built. That area there is going to be the building you see as you walk out of the Bathysphere tunnel with one with the Hephaestus written across it. We plan to make that an office administrative area, given that we didn't get to see a lot of that in the game location, but there would be something like that in the game. Now heading back down here, we can re-enter the airlock, bypass the diving suits. We can head up these stairs. Now this is more or less the same pumping and water pumping station. It's just more flatlined, if that makes sense. This would pump water in and out as needed, or maybe even hot water. It's more or less the same. I'll just give a quick tour of it all and be quiet for a bit. That's pretty much all it. There is it's more or less the same in that location. Traveling this way. Now this area does go upwards and back to the Atlantic Express train station, but we're not going to go that way. Instead, we're going to take this doorway up here, and we're going to enter this pumping station. Much like the main power core, this takes up a lot of space in the center. This system is designed to remove any excess debris that enters the city, as I imagine a lot of fish and seaweed would get caught into the systems. This pumps it straight out and back into the ocean for the ocean animals to feed on it. As you can see, this takes up a lot of space. We are also taking advantage of the latest block we've gotten our hands on, the grated copper block, and the fact that it can be watertight. Basically, water fills in through the ocean, goes in there, and is transported into the main pumping station, providing water for the rest of the facility, whether it be for the turbines, the equipment, or anything like that. Going up here, we have the control center for it, as well as the control center for the water pumps that follow through here. As this area is an interior cave that fills with water on occasion, which we harness from there. Oops, sorry folks. Heading back here, we're back at the main location game, at the workstations. Heading this way, we can take a right. Heading this way and down here, we are back at the trophy room, and we'll be taking a left again. Now, I will admit this area is more or less unfinished, as this area will connect up to that big location we saw earlier, which I'll show in a moment. But just a quick note, if you want to go up through here, back to the workstation, just take these stairs, which will follow down there and over here. But since we've already explored the area, we'll pretty much leave that be. Now, this area is still being built, so I apologize for the lack of design effort. But this area will connect up to the administration area. As you can see here, these places will have stairs that lead up and connect via a glass ceiling into this area here, which will be the administration. It'll be mostly be desks, offices, administrative computing systems, just basically stuff to keeps the. It's basically the white collar area for the blue collar location. If that makes sense, folks. Now, heading back down here, we can take this doorway and this door and this door, and we can actually finally start exploring the rapture central control area. Alright, without further ado, rapture central control. Now, before we enter this area good and proper, there is this little alcove that we've put in. This area is more or less a little build area we've added to just to make things more understandable. Here's a decontamination shower. After all, if any injury were to occur, removing any muck, grime, contaminants off you is paramount. It's nothing too fancy, just a simple design. Heading this way, we have an additional storage center, as well as a small dormitory area, should overnight people be required. After all, this facility would run 24/7, and having people on standby would be important, should any breakdowns occur. Nothing too fancy, just some beds, a small kitchen, little lounge room that's sealed off to minimize noise for the guests, for the residents. Over here we have a train line that connects to the bathysphere station that we've added. Right here. One of our latest models is a small bin, just what I showed off. Now, it's a lot more compacted and cramped, as this area, while also serving as Ryan's private bathysphere, it also doubles as a construction collection point for this section of Hephaestus. Nothing too fancy, just a basic bathysphere design that's been sort of smushed down a little. But I quite like it. Small office area. Small shipping office. Here you can sign out for materials that you need, as well as signing off on materials that have arrived. Heading this way, we can actually access the airlock, the bulkhead that connects the two sections together. Over there you can see the tunnel that connects both areas via the rail line we showed you earlier. Now through here we can now connect to the main control areas. Now as you can see we had some quite large limitations in the design, given that Minecraft's a blocky game obviously, but also this location uses a lot of free use assets, including small things like the decorative wall panels you see beside doors. A lot of that was used here. So we've had to take a lot of creative liberties, but I think we got the main look down, more or less. But as you can see, it's more or less accurate, hopefully. Now, we'll explore those locations soon, but first, we'll focus on the main game locations. Now, here's the Would You Kindly room. We've repurposed it into a small waiting area. In-game, this area doesn't actually line up with the doors. For some reason, there's a large gap in between. We would normally explore it via this ventilation system here, that you can hop in when it lets you. But, as you can see, the doors have been fixed. You can normally access the vents by up here. Like such. We added it purely just for the hell of it, to be honest. Plus to be accurate. Now this way, we have an elevator that connects to the lower half and the upper half of the place. As well as Ryan's private bathroom, because let's face it, Ryan would have a private bathroom. Complete with the fish tank and storage areas for his hygiene or whatever they have. Now, this way leads to Ryan's office. It's been perfectly restored into the actual look of it. As well as some other additional locations in the game. Now, this area has been redesigned to be the reception area, as I doubt Ryan would have his receptionist down there and just have them waiting up here. Moving this way, we can actually close the door. We can find Ryan's office there, the two statues of him there, and the central control room there. But I'd like to just point out this golf course thing actually works, mostly. Using moss carpet and a turtle egg and some ice, we can actually make a working putt-putt course. As well as some hoppers on that end that connect it to there. Still chest here. Just thought I'd show that, as I am quite proud of that silly little thing. Here is Ryan's desk. Little typewriter model we've been working on. It's connected via an item frame and a pressure plate, right there. Traveling this way, we have an area that I forgot. What is it going to be? This would be a communication area, where Ryan will be able to communicate to other areas in the Hephaestus facility, as well as some of the pumping stations that are across the city. We have the Vita chamber, which isn't in the game, it's turned off to stop Ryan from being reanimated. And down here, we'd have a utilities room where connection junctions would exist, if we remember to put it there. And now for the main location, the Rapture Central Control Computing Room. To the left and right of us, we have control panels. And here, we have the main computing system where, in the game, the Rapture self-destruct system would be in. But thankfully, that's not happening here. If this little thing looks familiar to you, it's based off the one that Stephen made for us in the Welcome Center. Based off the small model of it you see in the map area. But it's quite a nice little thing to it. Also taking advantage of the new cherry planks, which ironically are bright red, not pink. As well as mangrove wood, to replicate the main design of it. Outside, we have some massive piping networks that you see earlier in the game. Over there is the main core, if you can see it. And over there is the bathysphere station where Ryan's private room would be. Private one would be. Now, taking these way out, we can travel down here, and we can take these stairs upwards. We have some small control panels over here. Traveling up here, we have some additional control systems, as well as a private bunker that we put in should things get dicey in the location, as I imagine Ryan is the paranoid type. Hit that, lights go on, doors stay shut. This wall is made out of pure obsidian, and that's ancient debris there. So this room is TNT proof, more or less. And that's pretty much everything you need to say for a short term. Turn the light off, open that, and out you come. But it's more or less to keep Ryan safe until security arrives, to take out whatever threats arrived at Hephaestus. Now that location there, that's a little ventilation system. It travels along there, and it will normally in the game would dump you into a hole. But mostly at the moment it's just a ventilation system. We haven't quite finished yet. Traveling this way, we can exit out here. Travel down these stairs. Now, I'll go there here in a moment, but just for a quick little tour. These are staircases here. These are mainly for control centers for the power. They travel upwards here. And they connect to these little rails, these little walkways you saw in the in-game earlier before one of them got destroyed. Same with this location here. Just jump over here. It's more or less a mirror design. Yeah, it's more or less a mirror design, like I said. Travel down here, pop down here, and you're back at where you started. Heading this way, we have two bathrooms, obviously. Now, think of this area as the main computing system slash hub network for the power supply. Flick a switch here or there and the district goes out. That type of thing. Now, we are making some modifications to the texture pack. Recovery compasses are going to be steam gauges, given how wildly they can move around. So they always alternate between where they are, which I thought would be a nice idea. These computer panels are actually animated, taken from screenshots in Minerva's Den. They give a bit more life to the area. Protected by a blast airtight door. This area here is also is another location of it. They're separated that way if a flood does occur, only partial damage could occur. Taking some stairways up, we can explore that same pipework you saw earlier. It's all connecting around here, allowing supplies and materials to be transported across Hephaestus and its main secondary locations. Now, as you can see, this pipeline, it runs across the entire length of this network, all the way around here, travels along there, and heading out into secondary locations to secondary power hubs, if you will. Transformers, I believe they're called. Now, if you're wondering what this is, these are airtight, watertight blast doors. If water is detected, they will cut through that pipe and slam shut, as it's better to make sure that one area is flooded, not the entire thing. You will find them across every major area where this pipe connects to the outside of the building, not on the inside as well. Down there we have some secondary computer rooms, if we built them, and we have not. I apologize, folks. Traveling inwards here, we can actually see more of the same location, the power control areas. This little area here would function as an airlock of sorts, similar to how these areas would. But as you can see, blast doors, pipes, it's a really simple design. It's just designed to transport materials and power to locations. Nothing major, really. But like I said, nothing major here. Taking this doorway back, we can transfer here, jump down here, glide there, and traveling along here, we can fully work our way along here, back to the main location. Now, just having a little quick look out the view, you can see the main pipelines, as well as the airlock, which is just down there, and past that pipe you see. And that is pretty much it. That is the Hephaestus power plant. As you can see, it is mostly just power manufacturing. It's nothing colossal like Apollo Square or Olympus Heights, which is, at time of writing, it's about 3 to 5 stories tall. We have just started the foundational blueprints. But as you can see, hang on, traveling back here, we can see a lovely skylight. I'll end this video here with thank you for watching. If you like this, comment, subscribe, all those lovely things. If you're interested, message me on Planet Minecraft. We might be able to, we are planning to get the Apollo Square and Olympus Heights. We've merged the blueprints together with some difficulty, and we'll be constructing that soon. Until then, thanks for watching, and thank you, my apologies in advance for the video quality, if there is any. See ya.